Hey, Spencer.
Yeah, yes?
Want to see a dead body?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Alright, cool. I didn't plan anything beyond you. I figured you'd say no like a normal person.
No.
If you want to see a dead body, I'll go make one real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about drugs today. That seems applicable to the world we live in. Everybody's doing drugs.
Everybody.
We should do a really shitty rendition of this podcast. Hey, everybody's doing drugs. What's the deal with dope?
What's the deal? Have you guys seen this?
Yeah, you hear about this? You seen this? You ever do like a little, you roll it up and get some green stuff, you put it in a piece of paper, you roll it up, and then you smoke it a little bit, and then you get all crazy. Apparently you jump off of buildings and beat immigrants and shit.
You think you can fly and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that happens when you smoke that jazz cabbage, the wacky tobacco, the ganja.
The devil's seed.
The devil's lettuce. The devil's seeds, that's ejaculate. You're not smoking that. If you're smoking the devil's seed, that's another... I'm sure there's a drug out there called the devil's seed.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta be.
Definitely. If not, there should be.
Oh, there definitely should be. If you guys are just listening to this since it's posted on Tuesday, this is our 420 episode. Due to the law, I am not allowed to smoke. But I could drink as much whiskey as I want. I could drink a whole fifth of whiskey and go beat a bunch of people in the street, and that's fine. Yeah. But God forbid I take a puff of one sweet J. Hey there, party people. Welcome to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me, as always, Spencer, the Barbados Booty Bandit Church. Woo woo! Wickedy. Today's episode is our 420 Spectacular. We have 12 inebriated ladies all around us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we don't have a camera. It's wild in here. Actually, it's going to be wild in about 15 minutes probably, or 20 minutes. There's going to be a tornado of activity, a hurricane of chaos. I am sipping a fine Cape Line blackberry mojito. It's not good at all. I got it for free from work.
Doesn't sound like it would be good.
They pushed it off on us. I didn't want it. There's other flavors. There's margarita I tried last night. Down the drain it went. Mindy tried the strawberry lemonade something or other. That went down the drain after a sip. I'll tell you what they taste like so you don't have to have one. If you had, the shitty vitamin waters?
Yeah.
And then like the shitty cough syrup that Lil Wayne gets high off of?
Yeah.
The lean. It's like instead of using Sprite to make lean, that's what they use, right?
I don't know.
But
Sounds right.
Cough syrup and vitamin water, and then you shake it up and let it get warm, cool it down, warm it up again, and then cool it down one more time, and then leave it in your trunk for a month, and then take it back out and cool it down once more, and that's the flavor you're going to get from this delicious Cape Line.
What if that's how they made it? Hey, you found out that's how they brewed.
The tagline for this sparkling cocktail is 6 simple ingredients. Nothing artificial, gluten-free. Well, let me read the ingredients here. Carbonated water, alcohol from real cane sugar, so it's just alcoholic sugar, I guess. Real cane sugar, so there's 2 types of sugar. Lime juice, natural flavors, and fruit juice for color. Now, 6 simple ingredients. This has like a fucking 2-year shelf life. How?
Yeah.
If it's just fruit juice and water, how does it have a 2-year fucking shelf life? It doesn't make any sense. What are the natural flavors?
It's the tin in the can.
Tin's natural. Comes from the earth, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, today we're gonna terribly talk about stoner characters in fiction. Actually, I think we should start with this list I found. I'm not quite sure how terrible... It seems more quality. Do you want me to send it to you? I didn't send it to you. I'll do that. What's your name? Spencer?
I think that's the last time I checked.
Not Rodrigo?
No. I lose track with all the ones that you give me, so I can't...
Yeah, but usually still have the Spencer name.
Yeah.
That's the first name. I'm going to hit the button, and I send the stoner list to my boss at work. Good.
Yay!
I hear activity. It started already, sooner than I expected. And we're back! we have this wonderful list from bustle.com. Shout out to Bustle, where you get your hustle on.
And I say, what's a bustle? Bustle? Bustle.
It's a silent T, Spencer.
Oh.
Bustle.
Bustle.
It's a, I don't know what a bustle is. Mindy, what's a bustle? She doesn't know. Anyway, this article, 9 stoner reads for you to get lost in on 420. And we felt we do want to talk about fictional pot-smoking characters from movies and stuff that are popular, but we're going to do that after this list. We're a writing podcast. We've got to stay a little bit on the literature side of things. Usually it doesn't work out that way, though. No. I mean, number one, obviously, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which I feel like out of everything he did in that book or the movie, weed was on the very low end, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like his weed smoking would have been just kind of the transition period between like cocaine and ether or meth or some shit. So like Hunter S. Thompson just would take it easy. I'm gonna relax a little bit, smoke a little weed. That's how I start my morning. Yeah. You know, the old wake and bake. So we don't have to go into that one. If you don't know that book by now, you're fucked. You haven't been listening to this podcast enough. This one I have not heard of, but I'm kind of interested in it because this is a trippy-ass cover. The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test by Tom Wolfe. I'll read this one for you. Imagine yourself in a brightly colored bus named Further, riding shotgun to Allen Ginsberg while the Grateful Dead strum a few chords in the back. That is what reading this book is like, because that is what Tom Wolfe did while following Ken Casey and his band of merry pranksters from coast to coast and even to Mexico as they fled marijuana possession charges. That kind of sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're not aware of Allen Ginsberg, he was with Jack Kerouac in the Beatnik crew of the 60s. So that sounds pretty funky. This is like a kaleidoscope of color here on the book cover.
Yeah, that's just like an acid trip on the cover.
Again, though, I mean, Kool-Aid Acid Test.
Yeah.
I'm feeling already, just the start of this list, that the whole 420 vibe, they're pushing like it's just all drugs.
Yeah.
420 isn't about doing acid. I mean, I'm sure people go a little hardcore now, but it's supposed to be the marijuana. The Mary Jane. This one surprised me because I forgot about the drug smoking in this. Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. This was one of my favorite books, by the way. In this ultimate classic, an unnamed narrator brings us to his underground home where the weed is strong and the Louis Armstrong records are loud. In the scene, Ellison explores the relationship between the perception of time and smoking, so make sure you take your time reading through this one. I do remember that. It was a long book.
I didn't realize that any of that was going on in The Invisible Man. I did not know.
Not the Invisible Man as in the Invisible Man character. This is a book about racism. It's a black man in, I believe, New York, and I think I read this last year. It was like I think it's set in the 30s, and back then, like, you're a black guy in the city in the 30s, you might as well be invisible.
Yeah.
That's kind of the premise here, but he lived in like a basement or something for a while, and I think it starts off, he was smoking some herb. But again, the book's not about marijuana. Book doesn't have too much drug use. It was written in the 30s, I think. But if you want, it's a very good book if you would like to check that out sometime, Spencer.
All right.
But I do not have the print copy.
Yeah.
Ebook. Which sucks because it would be awesome if you got a Kindle and the ebook had like a little lending thing. Like, hey, lend it to your friends like you do a regular book. That'd be great. You gotta just fucking email you the book or something.
That would be a nice feature.
This one's a little more applicable. The Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac. I read this not too long ago either. Fact and fiction get stirred up in Jack Kerouac's semi-fictional account of his years traveling after On the Road. The account of Allen Ginsberg's first legendary reading of How, while he was stoned at the Sixth Gallery in New York, should be enough to get this on your reading list. But if not, then maybe Kerouac's pseudonym Ray Smith, the book's narrator, can convince you to join him on his trek to Mexico, where there is music, well, that's just shittily written, where music is coming out of doors, girls, wine, weed, and hats. Viva! Yeah, that was a very interesting book. Like I said, that was about him. Like, he's just doing a lot of wine drinking and mountain climbing and shit like that. But he definitely did his fair share of the pot smoking and that. Oh. But that I would not recommend to you because that's more of a boring read.
Yeah,
it sounds exciting, but I didn't read On the Road because this book, while I enjoyed it, I enjoyed the writing. It was one of those ones, it's like you're reading like a nature book half the time.
Yeah.
He's just in the woods and shit. And I mean, Jack Kerouac doesn't seem like the kind of cat I would want to hang out with. He was an alcoholic. And oh, here's another one. Is this based on the Leo movie? The Beach by Alex Garland? It has to be. Award-winning national bestseller. World travel and pot smoking often go hand in hand. Well, doesn't it now?
Yeah.
Also, before I go into this one, it seems like Mexico is a central plot point to...
It is.
Which, if you know the history of the marijuana laws that we have in the United States, they... as we've heard thousands of times on the Rogan podcast, the smear campaign against marijuana due to the hemp industry taking over the paper industry, they said it was a bunch of Mexicans, that were doing it. So I was like, ooh, I don't want to be a dirty Mexican smoking the marijuana, which is a made up word for the cannabis plant. And, marijuana is like a Mexican word, which, what does that even mean originally? I forget the original.
It's some, I don't know, I can't remember.
Or was it not even a word, actually?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, but they just attribute it to Mexicans because apparently Mexicans are smoking it.
Yeah.
Us whiteys would be appalled or something. I don't fucking know.
Well, they were like doing it and like raping and doing terrible things on it, I think.
Yeah, they're a bunch of... I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say the old Donald Trump quote. I will. They're a bunch of criminals and rapists.
Yeah.
Like that, really? Because I never put that two and two together. But yeah, that's what they were saying in the fucking like 20s and 30s. And now here's our like president of 2019 saying that dumb shit. How far we have fallen, Spencer, or not made any progress. World travel and pot smoking often go hand in hand, and Alex Garland's The Beach is further proof of that connection. When English traveler Richard sets off to find a secret beach paradise in Thailand, he instead stumbles upon a cannabis plantation and a whole lot of weird. Despite the dark tone of the book, the scenes of relaxation and celebration and the presence of marijuana throughout make it a suitable 420 read.
Honestly, that's so far seemed like the only one really...
Yeah, that's like an actual... Like the plot point of the book is the herb. That sounds like an interesting book. Was that the Leo movie? I never watched that.
No.
The Beach?
No, I've never seen it.
But I remember it was a beach, and I think it was Thailand. It would have to be... Was it about the pot smoking? Maybe we should go watch it. I'm not going to. Been Down So Long It Looks Like Up to Me by Richard Farina. That's a fucking funky cover, too. It's like a statue, naked lady with people sitting on her butt, cooch, head, and they're colorful, and she's black and white. There's no way I could describe that.
No.
Is this a Mexican book? Sounds like a Mexican author. Let's see. Another cult classic of the 1960s counterculture, Cuban-American author Richard Farina's picaresque novel will make you feel like you're in college again. The unlikely hero... How the fuck do you say his name? Gnossus? Gnossus?
Sounds about as close as I could get.
The unlikely hero... Oh, God, I didn't read his last name.
Oh, wow.
I guess he's Greek. The unlikely hero, Gnossus Papadopoulos. I only know the Papadopoulos because that was that lawyer dude, wasn't it, that got in trouble? Trump's lawyer or something?
Yeah,
wasn't that a Papadopoulos?
I think so, yeah.
I like the name. That's why. Which I actually find these weird, long-ass last names of Greeks aren't that hard to say once you hear somebody else say them. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Bucks. Like, the first time I read his name, I was like, how the fuck do you say this? But then, like, Charles Barkley can't say it, but everybody else can. Anyway, where was I? The unlikely hero, Gnossus Papadopoulos, like his women loose, his art loud, and his weed strong. Sit back, crack open, been down so long, and let yourself wander in and out of not-so-fictional smoke-filled frat parties. I'm not getting a real synopsis here what this book's about, but I like it.
Yeah.
What's loud art, man? It's in the 60s, so I'm thinking pictures of Campbell's soup. I don't know.
And brightness and... I don't know.
People with fucked up hair.
Yeah.
Some, what was in It's Always Sunny, Danny DeVito, when he played the art critic? What was his name? He had the fucking crazy hair. Something Kablogan or Toblogan or something.
I know what...
I'm mixing up with his Mantis Toboggan character, but it's not that one. It was something like Augo Toboggan. It was like a fucking crazy name.
That show was so good.
Danny DeVito is my hero. I actually watched a shitload of clips of him yesterday doing ridiculous things just because. I enjoy Danny DeVito. It's going to be a damn shame when he's no longer around. I hope he lives to be 120.
The best part was whenever they redid the Detective Pikachu trailer with Frank Reynolds. Clips from him talking about Frogman.
Frogman. All right. Next book on the list. Telegraph Avenue by Michael Chabon. I just want to say, I'm feeling like my story titles are not that creative compared to some of the shit I'm reading. Of course, I mean, the 420 theme, maybe, but these are some pretty cool titles. Telegraph Avenue, I like that. Michael Chabon. The real Telegraph Avenue, the street from which Michael Chabon got his novel's title, stretches from downtown Oakland all the way to Berkeley. It's a diverse street where college students roam, $7 coffees in hand, artists set up shop, medical marijuana shops are ever growing, and the homeless look for a place to rest. Michael Chabon flawlessly captures the realness of the neighborhood, and in Mr. Nostalgia, proprietor of non-sports card and weed aficionado. So this is like a modern book.
Yeah. That's a lot for a coffee.
Well, it's fucking California, Oakland, Berkeley area. It's expensive. Next book, Inherent Vice by Thomas Pynchon. That's a cool ass cover. I like that. Yeah, that's like a cover. It's like a throwback beach cover, like at night, but it has the like these neon. What's that font? That's not the Chinese font. That's like a Broadway kind of font, I think. Or no, that's like a Vegas font.
Yeah.
Like a Vegas casino font, and it's in bright pink and green. That's a really cool book cover. And is that that looks like the Ghostbusters movie?
I think it looks, it's not it, but I think it's supposed to...
Surf Shop, yeah. But yeah, definitely it looks like the Ghostbusters. If you are in the mood for mystery and mayhem, consider spending the holiday reading Thomas Pynchon's recently adapted Inherent Vice. Detective Larry Doc Porteo may be a total pothead, but his occasional smoke break leads to mishaps, intrigue, and a lot of humor for the reader. So, like, Pineapple Express.
But you're a detective, I guess.
Yeah, you're a detective, but you kind of get the, smoke breaks lead to crazy mishap.
So,
that's kind of like the trope, though.
Maybe more Columbo. With Columbo.
Pothead Columbo.
Yeah, Pothead Columbo.
Like that. Next one. Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. I never heard of this one. I haven't read too much Margaret Atwood. I've read her short stories, but I have not read her novels. This, you got a flower on the cover and a lady with green eyes. I'm getting a plant vibe here.
A little poison ivy.
Yeah. As if you needed another reason to read Margaret Atwood's stunning series. Consider the fact that even in a post-apocalyptic world, stoners exist. Well, I think there would be more stoners than anything. Before the snowman became the snowman, he was just Jimmy, another high schooler smoking skunky weed and looking at dirty pictures with his best friend. Ah, the good old days before global pandemics. It's the last time you smoked some skunky weed. The skunk. Ew, I don't like this book cover at all.
Bro, I hate close-up of, like...
mouths.
Yeah.
Cellavision by Augustine Burroughs. It's just a close-up of, like, a lady's mouth, but her teeth are too vibrant, too white. I don't know about you, but when I see people with too white teeth, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
Those piano key teeth.
Yeah, they shouldn't be that white or that big.
Especially when it's like on older people. Like you see Denzel Washington now, it freaks me out. It's like, dude, your teeth are like perfect, but the rest of you is getting old and saggy. Doesn't match.
Not right.
Need some coffee stains on those chompers. If you are going to spend the holidays reading, make it something hilarious like Augustine Burroughs' only work of straight fiction, Cellavision. If the over-the-top characters and outrageous plotline aren't enough to make you laugh through a cloud of smoke, just read the scene between sad Peggy's husband John and Nikki. The 16-year-old neighbor, which involves joint smoking, munchies, and a whole lot of sexual innuendos. So one thing I'm seeing lacking from this list, a pro-pot depiction of characters who are like getting shit done.
Yeah. Like
it's all about munchies, and it's, granted I haven't read like this one. I've read so far I think 3 or 4 of the books on here, but none of them, the ones I read weren't actually all about like smoking weed, but these heavy weed smoking ones kind of sounds like just your old typical stoner stereotype.
Yeah. If you get anything done, it's just happenstance. It's not because of...
You're bungling through life because you're a pothead. Well, I want to see the potheads who are getting some shit done.
Yeah.
I want to see the jujitsu potheads. I want to see the guys who are fucking coders and, go to work, but then they also get stoned to relax. Like, why does it always have to be, I got the munchies and I'm going to sleep for 8 hours? Next one, Ruby by Cynthia Bond. That's a normal cover, I guess. Reminisce with Cynthia Bond's titular character, Ruby. I don't use the word titular enough.
Well, I don't think you should. I don't think you should, especially when it comes to female characters.
Yeah. Well, it's titular, but I like to say titular.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds better. Because that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
Titular. Character Ruby about the good old days in the East Village. I don't know anything about the East Village, but from Sex and the City, I think it's a gay neighborhood, right? It's always here. Where's that the meatpacking industry? I don't know. I've never been to New York City. Anyway, We reminisce about the good old days in the East Village before she left New York for a very troubled South. Travel back to when people crashed downtown tea parties and smoked weed with artists who rambled for hours about abstract expressionism versus pop art. Actually, never mind. This is the Village we're talking about, so that's probably still happening. I just want to say, last night when I was serious about that Danny DeVito binge I went on, I was watching old Taxi clips.
Oh, God.
From when he was on there, and there was a scene where him and Christopher Lloyd, I think it was Lodfa, he quit, and then he left a bunch of cocaine cookies made with cocaine, and fucking Christopher Lloyd, he's going through, and he's like breaking apart, he smells it, and he's like, yeah, that's Peruvian, and then he like snorts a piece of the cookie, and he goes, South Peruvian, and then he tastes it, and he's like, 1970, like he just goes on, and I'm like, you could not do that now.
No.
And his whole character was a drug hippie, and I watched another clip where it was before he gets on drugs and becomes like the hippie bum that he is on the show, and he was like this fucking college educated, real pompous dude. He's like, I need to go study, and it was hilarious because Tom Hanks was on there, old mullet looking Tom Hanks, he had big hair, and he was on acid he was on edibles, and he was all fucked up, and like, it was just a weird contrast, because who would have thought Tom Hanks back then would have became so fucking, like,
Yeah.
the goddamn multi-Oscar winning actor. But, like, just back then, like, pot and stuff in the 70s wasn't a big deal.
No.
Like, you just smoke in the streets, and maybe a cop like, hey, put that shit out there, buddy, or worse, you might get arrested, but you're not really.
But they'd probably take it off of you.
It's like back then when you were drunk or something, you might go sleep it off in a tank, and then you're out the next day. But now, like, they made such a big deal about it everywhere. Like in New York for a while, you fucking got caught with a bag. You go to jail for like months or some shit. It's like, what the fuck?
Texas is like real bad. Texas and like and Florida, I think, are like really bad with that.
Yeah, why? It's so stupid.
Especially like Florida is like you're so bad on the weed, but then like the prescription drugs.
Yeah, just give them out like candy. It doesn't make sense because, like I said, in the 70s, you could do it and it wasn't a big deal. And it's like, that's one of the few things in this country we actually regressed on. Like, we've gotten worse because the 80s was all about cocaine and shit. And I don't remember, like, huge crackdowns about coke. Like, the crack epidemic, yeah. But, like, cocaine, I mean, it was in movies and shit. And people just like, yeah, that's the culture. I don't know. When did that big change? I guess Ronald Reagan's war on drug, maybe. His war on drugs. Yeah, but at some point, it's almost like they went back with the prohibition of weed. Because, obviously, in the like 20s and 30s, whenever they made it legal, I think it was the 30s, because before that it wasn't like a big deal, and then it was like, oh, you're either a Mexican or these black jazz musicians do weed, so that's bad. And then we get to the 50s, everything's all wholesome. 60s, counterculture, you get a bunch of acid doing, LSD using hippies, and then by the time the 70s came around, if you're doing weed, that wasn't a big deal, because before that people were doing fucking acid and shit. So it wasn't a big deal. Then like it reverted back, and now we're finally going the other way again. And now they're actually making it legal in a lot of places. Yeah, it's still stupid because you can get arrested for it still because it's federally illegal. Yeah. So even if you're in California, granted they're not gonna fuck with you, but if they wanted to, they could.
I think it's more with the not necessarily
the growers.
It's like the growers and the sellers, not necessarily the buyers.
It doesn't even make sense. Anyway, the next book, The Doors of Perception in Heaven and Hell by Aldous Huxley.
I like this. This cover is trippy.
Yeah, it's circles. I never read this. I don't think I read a lot of Aldous Huxley. Have you?
No.
What was Brave New World? I think that was the most popular of the work. I think, yeah. Anyway. Long before Hunter S. Thompson's reign in gonzo journalism, Aldous Huxley's account of the use of mescaline changed the way people looked at drug use. Do people still use mescaline? Is that even a thing anymore? Because it was really heavily used in Fear and Loathing, and then I just never. That's the only time I ever heard of it. That's one of those drugs I never really heard of.
Yeah, no, I don't hear people using it anymore.
His vivid descriptions and insights into his experience make this book a fantastic read for the intellectual stoner. There we go, intellectual stoner. Though not directly about marijuana, The Doors of Perception became a symbol for the 1960s counterculture. I've known a couple intellectual stoners in my life, and I don't think it had anything to do with the weed. I think it was the behavior that made them want to smoke so much weed.
Yeah.
But they just very underachieved in life. Like
Yeah.
we used to work with a guy that was like really smart and just kind of didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I was always under the belief it's not the drug that, like, especially in like weed's case, it's not the drug that makes the person lazy. It's like a lazy person just gravitates towards, because you could do that with alcohol too.
Yeah.
You could be, a functioning person who just drinks sometimes, or you can be just a full-blown alcoholic that doesn't do anything. It's just, I guess, the type of person.
It all depends on the person, not the things that they're taking.
Mm-hmm. But it definitely is a shame when you see somebody who's quite intelligent and has the potential to do it. I mean, a vast majority of the things they probably would want to do.
Yeah.
And they just sit around and smoke all day and don't do shit. That was the last book on our list. Want to read this thing called Dear Jennifer? What is this about? No, I'm not going to do that. So those are your stoner reads. If you want to read some stoner books.
And let's mention that on that list, if you go and you look up that list online on that website, under each book they have a click here to buy. So if any of those seem interesting to you that you want to check out, that could be an easy way.
I will put a link in our show notes when I post this. It's bustle.com. 9 stoner reads for you to get lost in on 420. By the way, I don't know what the weed culture in Kentucky is like right now, but we have, I think, our most views in the last couple weeks have come from Kentucky.
Really?
All places, yeah.
Huh.
Kentucky, Pennsylvania, obviously.
Yeah.
Then like California, Australia.
I like Australia.
Yeah,
I like that we're getting people from Australia.
Yeah. We got I think a few from Russia and like just smatterings of England and like smattering of other countries, but heavily condensed in Kentucky. I don't know why.
Maybe we need to do some research. Maybe we need it if we do get around to getting the book out, we can take like a mini like book tour through Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny because some of the people that either wrote for DPW or I just talked to online, like I know where they, like what state they live in. So if I see only one view coming from that's like one per episode coming from that state, I know who it is. So like Connecticut, I know who the person from Connecticut is. But Kentucky, I'm like, who are these fucking like 30 people from Kentucky listening to us or whatever the number is? Ah, man.
Maybe we should start doing like Kentucky-based stories.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to do something because now we're starting to kind of reach our competitors' levels of views, which I like.
Yeah.
And we've only been out for... When did we start posting this? In wintertime.
Yeah, it hasn't been long.
Yeah, maybe November, December I put the first episode. No, because I put it on YouTube for a little bit. So I think it was December or January before I actually started. We got Podbean and started actually airing episodes. So that's pretty cool. Great fictional stoners. You kind of had some ideas for this already.
Yeah.
Who are your favorite? Who comes to mind when you think of fictional stoners that set the bar?
Well, some of the ones just off the top of the bat before even had to think are, the Red Man and Method Man from How High.
Which we wanted to go into how shitty the new movie looks or show. I guess it's a movie, but it's on MTV.
I think it's like a TV movie, I think.
You didn't know these people, which I envy you for this, because you're not on Black Twitter, so you don't know.
No, I am not. I keep on hearing about this Black Twitter, but I just never... Me
and young Jamie, we go...
Do I just have to hit, like, Black Twitter on the search bar? Like,
No, you have to be invited. Oh. It's like getting invited to the cookout. You have to get it in. Anyway, Little Yachty and, what's his name? Young Fly something or other. He's from Wild 'N Out. He's a comedian. I forget his name. He's actually pretty funny, but he's not... They're not Method Man and Red Man.
No.
And Little Yachty fucking sucks. Here's the thing about Little Yachty. Because he's like he's a mumble rapper. He's the one I'm sure you've seen. I think he has like the fucking pink beads in his hair. He doesn't smoke. Like I think he's come out and said he just doesn't smoke at all. He doesn't smoke weed.
Well, that's bullshit.
So how you in How High if you don't smoke, dude?
That's
The casting is abysmal. I get it. They want to appeal to the youth, but like we were saying off air, it's the old heads like me and you that are gonna go watch that movie, right?
Yeah.
It's the fucking guys who watch How High 1. I feel like early 20-somethings probably haven't seen How High, or they're not excited about a second one. It's our generation.
Yeah, and...
We're the ones going to see Lion King and all this dumb shit, so like we're the ones that are going to go see it. Why are you casting people we don't want? And Red Man and Method Man were both like, we'll do it whenever they want. Like, just fucking give us a good script. And they just, we're good. We don't want to pay you.
I guess, it probably costs too much money.
Anyway, Pineapple Express. Seth Rogen and James Franco. That was a good duo. Unexpected duo. Like, before that, did they do anything together besides, like, Geeks and Freaks? I don't know if they did any movies together.
I mean, they may be, like, small parts or something.
But not like a whole headline a movie.
Yeah, they weren't, like, the co-leads or anything like that.
And shout out to Danny McBride in that, because he was, like, the good, like, the counter to their stoner characters. Yeah. He was, like, this fucking weird... I don't even know. I don't think he did drugs in that, did he?
No, I don't think so.
Mindy, who are your favorite stoner characters in movies? Well, that was...
wow.
Jesus. Oh, my. You know what to do now.
Stop.
I guess we just end the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we have the OGs, Cheech and Chong.
Cheech and Chong.
Can't forget about them. They, we're saying, they kind of started the real stoner flicks, and then there was a big break between, like, the popularity of the stoner flicks until I feel, like, personally, at least when I started watching those kind of movies, was, because you had, like, your Dazed and Confused and things like that throughout the years, but, like, really hit the notch, I would say Half-Baked Dave Chappelle.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that brought because that was because, like, Dazed and Confused, yeah, they got high and stuff, but that wasn't about just smoking. But Half-Baked was actual stoner flick.
Yes.
That was the plot was about smoking weed. The whole catalyst for why the dude got in trouble in the first place because he was high and he gave food to a horse. And...
Did you ever hear his his story about making that? Because I was watching that Inside the Actor Studio from years
James
ago.
Lipton still alive?
Oh. I don't know. This is from like years ago.
But fun fact: James Lipton actually started out as a pimp.
Really?
Yeah, he was a pimp in real life. A real life pimp. Nice. Go on. I kind of see it now.
I don't know if I can now. But anyways, he was on there and they were talking about it. And he was talking about like how originally the script when he wrote it was like kind of like this dark comedy, and then they turned it into like this weed movie for kids.
Well, they started the movie off as their kids and they smoked for the first time.
But so I mean, like he said, he liked the movie and everything like that, and was what kind of got him out there. But he said originally it was like this different kind of film.
Yeah, that was always interesting. Cause I remember because they had a couple scripts for that. I think before they came up with like a final one. And then you had your few stoner films between that, and then I feel like the next big one, because we're kind of going with the big major ones. Pineapple Express, like the ones that made the stoner comedies at the top of the genre, for like the comedy genre for the time being. Harold and Kumar was another one that was kind of lost in between Half-Baked and Pineapple Express, but that was a very funny one. They made the sequels. How many ridiculous events can you get into in your life? Come on.
Yeah. In such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys.
How many times can you just accidentally run into Neil Patrick Harris?
Especially, like, did he die in the first one? He got, like, shot to death or something, and he just came back? But then again, Christopher Maloney in that, too. That was the first one, wasn't it? Yeah, he was excellent. He was a freak show. All the pimples, the big...
Yeah. No, I think that was the second one.
Was it?
No, maybe it was the first one.
That was the first one. Oh, yeah. I feel like all the good stuff happened in the first one. What else have we got?
Well, I said, and you didn't quite agree with me, but I said Jay and Silent Bob.
I feel that while they're stoner characters and it's a stoner movie, the plot doesn't... It's not about the weed. See, the thing is, the movies we're mentioning, like Harold and Kumar, there's no movie without the weed.
Yeah.
Half-Baked, no movie without the weed. Pineapple Express, no movie without the weed. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, they didn't have to mention smoking once and you had the same movie. Think about it. Them smoking wasn't like the reason they had to go and stop the movie and all that shit.
Fair enough, I guess.
So I'm saying that's why like a Dazed and Confused doesn't get lumped in with the stoner category, because while it's a stoner film in the regards of there's pothead characters, that's not what the movie's about.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if you wanted to go that... I mean, they're in Mallrats, they're in Clerks. You can always... Those aren't stoner films, but they're stoner-esque.
Yeah.
That's like a subcategory.
They're for the stoner culture, but they're not a stoner movie.
I feel like there should be, like, a word for Kevin Smith movies. Like Smith-esque or something like that. Because, you get, like, Kafka-esque, or when you're describing, like, literature... I feel like that deserves something, because that's what those movies are. They're wholly Kevin Smith movies. When you watch a Kevin Smith movie, you know you're watching a Kevin Smith movie, which is, in my opinion, a sign of a great director.
Yes.
Quentin Tarantino is another one that comes to mind. You know you're watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. And speaking of stoners, I am looking forward to that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because, what was that, 60s? Everybody was high then?
Probably, yeah.
Are they going to have, like, Charlie Manson in that?
That's what I keep on hearing.
I thought that was the point of the movie, but then, like, the previews and stuff, the trailers, there's none of that.
Yeah, they just make it look like, stunt guy and his stunt double.
Which I don't want to be a dick, but it is kind of fucked up that you would put, like, that in a movie. Like, if it's a documentary type movie, I understand, or a biopic. But if it's just a fiction movie, like he's doing, just reimagining it with real live characters, to have like a fucking, a real person getting murdered for entertainment is kind of fucked up.
Yeah. I guess
it's like the Ted Bundy movies. Why do you want to watch those?
We were just talking about Kevin Smith. Apparently his daughter got a part in that movie.
Yeah, I saw a picture of her on set, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how big of a part it is. I was just listening to one of his newest podcasts recently, and she was on, and they were talking about it.
I think she has potential to be a decent actress. In the movies I've seen her in, she was pretty funny.
I mean, other than like his movies, I haven't seen her.
I've only seen her in his movies.
I know she's done other stuff that she's working on, and I guess she has like a band and stuff too. But just the stuff that I've seen her in, she seems to be alright.
Yeah, she's an interesting lady. What other stoner characters are we missing? I feel like the stoner genre is not as big as we once thought. Let's see if I come up with anything here. I never actually looked up stoner movies, like to see what would be categorized under that. Half Baked's number one. What is that? Pineapple Express. High School. I never saw that one.
No.
The Big Lebowski is considered a stoner film. How do you feel about that?
I mean, he does smoke throughout it, but like you said,
that's not the reason the movie... Yeah, that's not the major plot point. Yeah, I wouldn't call The Big Lebowski a stoner film. I don't know what you'd categorize that as. That's a weird movie. It's a great movie. Never heard of that. Ooh, Grandma's Boy. That's an interesting one because, again, that's not the weed making that movie happen, but there's a lot of smoking. Remember, because they have the whole... who played that guy? They had like the shaman in the basement, and it was the guy from all the Adam Sandler movies that was getting his weed, and they were like teaching the monkey karate. Yeah, I love that guy. Yeah, Grandma's Boy was excellent.
He's the one who got like his legs bitten off by the shark right at the end.
That's one of my favorite movies. See, now Cheech and Chong up in smoke. Come on.
Yeah,
the name alone that tells you what you need to know. I never saw American Ultra. Did you see that?
No.
Kristen Stewart was in it. Apparently, it's a pothead movie. Evil Bong. How did we not see a movie called Evil Bong?
I've heard of that, but I just...
They do have Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back on here. So that Inherent Vice, that is a movie. That book we should probably check that out. That book that was on that list with the neon.
Oh, okay.
And the Ghostbusters car. That came out in 2014. Let's see what that's... Who's in that movie? Oh my god, my phone isn't working. Joaquin Phoenix is in it.
Oh, yeah?
That might be Joaquin, Owen Wilson, Josh Brolin. Some three big names right there. You know what I'm watching tonight? There's a movie called Kid Cannabis.
Sounds like a shitty superhero.
Apparently this is fucking ridiculous. The first stoner flick was Reefer Madness. That was an anti-pop movie, though, but I guess that was the first movie about weed. Oh, Fast Time at Ridgemont High. You ever see that? It's a great movie.
It's been forever.
Oh, Butthole Face Sean Penn. He was what was his name in that? Not Spicoli, something like that.
Spicoli, something like that.
He ordered pizza in class. Yeah. That was a good one. That was a nice little Tenacious D. I never saw this movie. Oh, dude, how do we forget the Friday movies?
Oh, right,
what do we classify those as? Because I feel like, while you don't want to say the marijuana was the driving factor of the movie, he wouldn't have gotten into so much shenanigans, right? Because Smokey makes him smoke for the first time at the beginning, remember? And then Smokey, all his trouble comes from the marijuana sales with Big Worm. And he smokes up all his shit.
Yeah.
So would you say those are stoner films?
I would say so, yeah. But it's weird. It's a stoner film, but it's a more... I don't want to say serious, but it doesn't have like the wacky... Well, I mean, it has...
It's wacky, but it's not... Oh, that's a tough one, man. Yeah, because those are all some... Oh, was there a third one? Friday After Next?
Yeah,
next Friday After Next. Those, I loved all of those movies.
All of them?
Yeah. I know you hate The Man, but those were the only movies I liked Mike Epps in. Because he was perfect as the the fucking dumb idiot against Ice Cube straight man. Because Ice Cube always fucking busted his balls for being so stupid. Remember? Yeah. When he fucking runs up and he's like, top flight security of the room, or the world, Craig. And he has the stupid uniform. We're top flight security of the world. He takes this stupid security job way too seriously. But, and he's harassing those old church ladies.
But don't say that like I'm the only one at this table that fucking hates Mike Epps. Don't.
I don't like Mike Epps' stand-up. That's the only thing I don't think his stand-up's very good. And I don't know. I haven't watched a bunch of Mike Epps movies, but I thought he was good in the Friday movies, and I thought he was good in that other Ice Cube movie where they you know what? No, actually, I think I don't like him in that movie that much. He was okay. That one where he had the winning lottery ticket. What was that called? Not Blue Chips. That was a Martin Lawrence movie, I think. Ice Cube's like a bounty hunter or some shit like that. It was a comedy.
Oh, I think I know you.
Heat or something like that. Not Heat. I think it's an Al Pacino movie. Something like that, though. But, yeah, he was in that. He was okay in that, but Mike Epps he's one of those guys that's like, eh.
Wasn't there a rumor about him being
Richard Pryor? Yeah. But I actually see he could probably do a Richard Pryor just because of like his looks and his mannerisms. If he actually took the role seriously, he might be okay at it. There's a movie called Bongwater, and it's got like an 80s chick with her butt hanging out.
Oh.
Rolling Kansas.
Sounds classy.
These movies are getting much worse. Here's another classic. This is... I would say this is a stoner film. Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Because, like...
That was a really stupid movie, but it was pretty good.
I'm surprised they haven't sequelized that.
I think that's one of those ones that was so dumb that they're just like, no. Well, no, probably didn't make a lot of money.
I think what it is that, what's his name? Ashton Kutcher has enough money now.
Yeah.
Well, what about, Bill and Ted?
Did they smoke weed in those movies?
I don't remember. Act like they do.
Well, they're like clearly potheads, but I don't think they ever smoked in them. It's been fucking like 20 years since I watched those movies.
That just brought me up because they're doing another one.
I'm pumped for the new one. Dude, they remade Reefer Madness 2005.
That doesn't surprise me.
And then Dead Man on Campus. That was a stupid movie. I don't think that was a pothead movie. So it looks like there's actually not that many quality stoner films out there like that are actual stoner films. That's why the ones we named are kind of the big ones because they're the only ones.
Yeah.
So I guess the message of this episode is, hey, smoke weed every day. Mm-hmm. What do you got planned for today? We could do a drunken bullshit episode where Mindy makes wings.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea because we're only at 45 minins, but this topic wasn't as intriguing as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't drank my big-ass beer I got yet. I drank this little shitty Cape Line. I didn't want to get hammered drunk yet. Because the last two episodes we were drunk and it was hard to edit.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't hard to edit. I was just listening to myself like, oh man, I'm slurring.
Were you?
Yeah. Well, by the end of the last drunken bullshit episode, I was like, dude, I can't even edit it like to make it sound like I'm normal. I just sound like a fucking dumbass.
So, guys,
which was really bad because
end of the episode. Bye.
Like it takes me like one drink before I start slurring anyway because my mouth gets real dry all the time. But in like that DBS episode, I was hitting on some real good points.
Yeah,
like we were talking about movies and shit. So I felt like I had some good shit to say, but the way I was saying it was like, oh. Well, happy 420 to you folks.
Yep.
And on a better note, I guess, a more Christian note, happy Easter. Does anybody actually celebrate Easter like as an actual holiday, or do they just use it as like
excuse to be off? Or yeah,
well, everybody, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Before I say anything, I don't really know how religious this area is, but when I was at work yesterday, we were driving through Uptown Washington in the morning, and there was like fucking 30 old people carrying two gigantic wooden crosses down the street. Yeah, Jesus style. Like two of them. And they were, when I say gigantic, I mean like a tree.
You didn't
like
think
they were gigantic.
You didn't think to stop this and get this on video?
No, it was so fast. We were driving past. It was up on Highland too, which is weird. And it was right around the corner, like on that 4-way intersection. It was a bend. So I couldn't, like, it wasn't like a straightaway where I saw them coming. We went around the corner and they were just there and we already passed them. If it was me driving, I would have been like, nope, we're stopping.
Yeah.
I gotta get this. And they all had like, I think they had like the fucking cross on their forehead, like the Ash Wednesday, or I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Here's what I said, which was very fucked up. And I know I shouldn't have even like thought it, but let alone say it out loud.
And repeat it on this.
Well, yeah, and repeat it on this to everybody. I saw a bunch of old white people carrying crosses, and like I said, by Highland, where the projects are, Lincoln, the Lincoln Terrace, that's the projects. I'm just like, they're not going to put those on people's lawns, are they? I was looking for a gas can. I was like, this is really fucked up. Like, they're doing this at broad daylight now?
Why nobody's stopping these people?
Yeah, what the hell? And then it came to me, oh, wait, today's Good Friday. Because I forgot Easter was this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot all about it. So I was like, just to see that on a day you're not expecting, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah, it was surreal. And maybe they were just putting a big T for time to go. Remember the South Park episode? Time to go. Lowercase t for time to go. That shit was hilarious. Oh man, one of the few shows that can make racism funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that was an odd sight. I completely whiffed it on that one. I just should have videotaped it. I mean, I guess that's not really a thing. I'm sure people do that. Obviously, there's like 30 of them, but
I've never seen it.
And they were. I mean, I'm talking old. There's no young people. I'm talking 70 and older.
Like,
so these people were well, they all were carrying it, and they were struggling. I mean, I wanted to get up and be like, do you need a hand to carry your giant racist cross that you're going to put on somebody's lawn? Because this thing looks fucking heavy. Because it wasn't light wood. It was like what you make log cabins out of.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's probably a terrible way to end this episode, but this is the official episode. This ain't even the drunk one, so we should probably have an outro. If you folks want to read all our weed fiction, our stoner fiction, which we don't nearly have enough of, right?
No, it doesn't.
As of now, I think you've written one weed story, and I have written none, maybe.
And not even like a really big weed. Like it's not even.
Yeah, it was about a guy trying to get weed. Some shit happens, so maybe we should get on that sometime. Well, anyway, now we know that that's a genre.
Yeah, that's
a books
untapped market.
You folks can head on over to drunkenpenwriting.com. We have all your fiction needs, but we have not been writing on the site that much, so we should get to that. I was going to post a story today I have, but I figured not that many people were going to be online. Like, I was looking at, like, the numbers and the views we were getting already, and there wasn't too many people. I'm not posting a big-ass story that's not going to get read, so I'll wait till next week. Anyway, you folks can hit us up on Twitter to yell at us for our awful, awful entertainment. At drunkpenwriting.twitter. I don't know. What is it? At drunkpenwriting? How does Twitter work? And then you can hit us up on Facebook and whatever else. You folks have a glorious weekend. See you later.
See ya.